I should record it. Okay. So the size of this array, well, it is not open-ended. We're saying it's 3. Okay?
Okay.
So the first set of brackets that we have, you don't put the size in there. When you go ahead and use the new keyword, then you go ahead and use the size. Now, although I should mention that, you could go ahead and do something like this. Or you could also go ahead and do this. Notice how I'm initializing the array right there during the declaration. So the size of this array is what? 3. So if you go ahead and initialize and declare at the same time, you don't need to go ahead and do the new. It does it for you, and it also gives you the size. So here's the example right there. Now, let's go ahead and find out what's going on with this. Now, this looks a bit ridiculous, okay, but let's see. So, when you're looking at this thing that looks a little complicated, we should go on the inside and do the most embedded piece. A sub 1. What is that? 0. A sub 0. What is that? 3. And then it says, why don't you go ahead and do a plus plus? Which means it's going to go ahead and display a what? 4. Yeah? Did you see that? Let me go ahead and do it again. A sub 1. It is 0. Then A sub 0. Well, that's 3. Apply the plus plus. That makes it a 4. Then display. Now, the question that actually comes up is, have we modified anything inside of this array? Have we? No. No? Let me ask you one question. When we go ahead and do I equals to 5, and I do a plus plus I, does that modify I? Yes, it does. Now, what is I? It's just a variable. A variable's got a space. Well, what is A sub 0? Is that not a variable inside of an array? But it's a variable. It's got the space in here. And you have some value, 3. And really, when you do a plus plus, what is really plus plus I or plus plus A sub 0? Plus plus A sub 0 is really A sub 0 equals to A sub 0 plus 1. So you do an assignment. So yes, this does change to 4. Yeah? Okay. Now, if you remember, I said that when you are looking at this blob of an array, it just so happens that this is an object, and one of the things that actually comes with this is a dot length. And that will actually go ahead and give you the size. And so I can go ahead and say, you know what, I have this array. Let me go ahead and just go with the length. And the length, it just so happens that it starts with 1. It's like how we count as human beings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. Now, if we start from 0, which is what the first index is, then we really want just 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's what this does, to less than that. And so we just go ahead and come up with a summation of all of these together. And so that's what we have at the end. Yes? Any questions? Is this like too simple? No simple? Do you have a question? Do you have a question? No, hold on. So, do you understand this for loop? This first line, that you're going to go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to go up to 5 because that's how many cells you have in the array. Okay, that's what the length tells you. And then sum is 0. So this is really sum equals to sum plus a sub I. So a sub I at first is 3, because that's what I is, 0. So 3 plus 0 is 3. Then the next time, it's going to go ahead and add that 0. So 3 plus 0 is 3. Then the next time, we're going to be there. So then 3 plus 3 is 6. Sum is going to become 6. And so in this way, at the end, when we're done with this loop, we'll have the summation, the cumulative sum of everything. And so that's what the value of sum will be. Now, when you're in the world of C, if you have an array, and if you go outside the bounds of an array, so let's just say you get access to a sub 5, which doesn't exist in the array, C will just say, okay, whatever you want to do. Your program may bomb at some future point, but it doesn't really stop you. With Java, though, it's a different story. If it says 3, and you get access to an element that is outside the array, Java will actually go ahead and throw what's referred to as a runtime exception. What is a runtime exception? Well, a runtime exception is quite simply the following. Let me go ahead and do this, and then we'll call it quits. You guys are thinking, this is ridiculous. Why doesn't it stop? Okay, so let me just get rid of all this. Get rid of all this. And get rid of all this. And let me make it nice. And let me get rid of all this. So it's a very simple. And let's come over here, clean that up. And I'm going to go ahead and do int a equals to new int 3. And I say it equals to, well, we'll just leave it at that. Okay. Now, at this point, let's just say that I do a system out inline a sub 4. Everyone should see that this is clearly outside the bounds. Yes? Now, if I put 3, is that outside the bounds? That's outside, right? Because 3 means 0, 1, 2. That's 3. So that is an index that is outside the bounds. So let's go ahead and compile and see what happens. Oh, compile is okay. No syntax errors. But let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. Do you see what's going on here? That'll happen. Oh, I think I just clicked on something else. Oh, that is. You notice it says array index out of bounds. So as you're running the program bombs. And it tells you why it's bombing. But that would be what is referred to as a runtime problem. As you're running, you have a problem. And Java will stop and it'll tell you why it's stopping.
It'll keep going though?
No, it stops.
Is an exception like, I don't know, like let's say you have like a thing to enter on a website, like information, and you enter something wrong, it won't just like stop. Is that kind of
No, you should think of it like this. It's kind of like you get into the car and then the seatbelt is not working. Okay? You can't go any further. You're done. You don't drive. Okay? If there's any problem that occurs, a runtime problem, okay, then it just stops. The program just bombs. It doesn't let you go any further. Yeah. Okay? Well, ladies and gentlemen.
So the compiler doesn't catch the size of arrays.
The compiler doesn't catch it because it can catch it. It cannot. Because the size of the array could be defined by the user, right? So we don't want to go ahead and define it. We don't want to catch it at the compile time because we don't have all the information. But then when we run it, once the array size has been defined, then when you go outside, then it's going to let you know. All right, so we stop.